Hello people, and welcome back to another video. So I've been wanting to do this for a while. Talk about documentary films that you really need to watch. Now one of these is actually new. In fact, they were just, it was up for an Oscar recently and it lost. But that doesn't mean it's bad, it just means it got whooped by another documentary that people like more apparently. But the first documentary I'm going to cover in two parts. It's a two-part video. I'm going to do the first five now, and then the next five, last five, later on. Now, these five, they're not, like, better than each other, but these are interesting films that you really need to watch. The first one is 13th. It is the newest documentary that I've seen. It is about the incarceration of blacks within society, our political system, and how it has affected not just blacks but everyone in general. How the drug war was actually started by Richard Nixon to take care of the hippies and the blacks from voting, and there are many other points that they make. Now, there is a lot to this documentary. A lot. This is not just a single story. This is a story that goes from, like, slavery all the way to now, basically. It is a brand new documentary that goes all the way till, I think, last year. And it's actually on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, make sure you check out 13th. It's not bad, but a lot of people may see it as being a little preachy, but I enjoyed it all the same. The next one is Cropsey. Now, Cropsey, you can easily, I think it's on YouTube, but you can easily find it on free movie sites like Crackle, I think. Or maybe it's either Crackle or Popcorn Flicks. Both are free movie websites which you can watch. Cropsey is a documentary about a serial killer who used to work at the Willowbrook Mental Institution. Now what that was a institution on Staten Island where you would send your mentally handicapped family members to basically live and to die. It was a horrendous place. There's actually numerous documentaries on this place. You can find at least two free on YouTube, and the second one I'm going to mention after this one. But Cropsey is the story of how the urban legend of Cropsey on Staten Island also pretty much coexists with the story of the Willowbrook Hospital. How a man who used to work at Willowbrook kidnapped and killed one of these mentally handicapped girls. He killed up to 3 children, I think. And it goes through the emotions that the parents feel, and the killer himself, and the story of Willowbrook. And it's actually really good. In fact, I'm going to play you the trailer right here.
Growing up on Staten Island, Barbara and I had often heard the legend of Cropsey.
You're supposed to have a hook and axe with a knife about this big.
Cropsey was the escaped mental patient who lived in the tunnels beneath the old abandoned Willowbrook Mental Institution, who would come out late at night, snatch children off the streets.
I would have never guessed there were the amount of weirdos living on Staten Island.
It might be somebody on your block. It might be somebody you work with.
You know, here's this guy going around picking off these kids.
I can imagine how other parents, even if your kid's gone for an hour, I can imagine how they must feel.
You know, that's probably one of the last things that you ever think about, that somebody would take your daughter.
It seemed like everywhere I went, there were people out in the woods looking for that little girl.
It's no question. If we were going to find her, we definitely were going to find her.
She thinks we're picking at dead children's bones.
We just want closure on this, that's all.
What was that?
I heard something.
It's scary because we have a boogeyman living on Staten Island all those years.
That image forced a lot of people to say, that is the killer.
There's no reason for him to exist anywhere else, you know, other than jail.
We had the same questions that you're asking me. Why did he do this? What set him off?
It's sort of like putting a puzzle together.
You know, he likes to be the center of attention, the keeper of the secrets.
So I think it'd be great if you could speak for your
What if we just do audio?
Safety, I will not go on.
Do you think they're all around us?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think he's possessed. I really think that he is demonized and possessed.
The next documentary, which I'm about to tell you about, is actually called Unforgotten, 25 Years Past Willowbrook. I think it's called After Willowbrook. It is the documentary course 25 years after Willowbrook has now closed, of people who were in there during his last days and before, and how their lives have changed and how they've changed the lives of other people. This is actually a really good documentary. It's actually pretty cool after watching Cropsey to see where these people ended up and how their lives have changed and what they've done. It was actually really enjoyable because these are people who actually survived their stays at Willowbrook compared to a lot who died. Now, there's also another documentary um, that you can watch. It happened back in the 1970s when we first found out about Willowbrook. And that one's actually mentioned in both Cropsey and I'm pretty sure it's mentioned in Unforgotten. And you can actually find it free on YouTube too. In fact, both of these films are completely free on YouTube that you can watch for if you so want to. And here is the trailer for Unforgotten. Bow.
Unforgotten is a heartfelt look at the way in which inhumane mistreatment of the mentally retarded at Willowbrook changed forever the lives of residents and their family members. Unforgotten. 25 years after Willowbrook.
Our next documentary is called Kidnapped for Christ. Now, this one is about teenagers and late-term adults who are actually paid to be kidnapped. Their parents pay people to kidnap them and bring them to this sort of school boarding place down in South America, where they are trained to be the Lord's people, I guess. It's kind of, they tell you in the film, but what it truly is psychopath motherfuckers who want to pray and to change you. In fact, a lot of these kids are actually gay, and their parents don't want them to be gay, so they send them down here to no longer be gay. And that is kind of the point of the film. How abusing people and trying to change them obviously doesn't work. And as you watch the film, you'll see how fucked up people can be sometimes.
Not a nice place. It's not a good place for children. It really hurt both my brother and I.
Was there anything that you saw that would be considered physical abuse?
I didn't see it. I heard it.
This kind of thing I knew went on in North Korea. I knew it went on in the former Soviet Union.
There's no government regulation.
If you saw how things were, you'd be sad.
I would have to honestly state that there has been things that have taken place.
I feel like I'm going to lose my mind here. I feel like I'm going to crack, and I'm just not going to be able to go any further.
What we were doing was wrong. It did not help them. Somebody's got to answer for that.
We recognized we were probably going to get one shot at demanding his release.
He needs to be able to walk out of there. We go in there tomorrow with whatever we have.
I am a U.S. citizen. I should be free.
We're in the business of trying to save prodigals.
Now, my next one I could not find a trailer for. This is actually a decently hard documentary to find a trailer for. In fact, it's a pretty hard documentary to find in general. Lucky for you guys, it's actually free on YouTube right now. You can go watch it. It is called Just Melvin, Just Evil. This documentary is about the abuse, sexual abuse, and destruction of a family caused by the father of the family. There's a lot of really disgusting and morbid shit that this bastard did to his family, such as taking away the tampons from the daughters and then forcing them to have sex with him just so they could have tampons, laying in bed with them and rubbing their neck to try and coerce them into having sex with him, And it spans a multi-generational effect where he would rape and molest these girls through generations. This is a pretty disturbing documentary if you don't like stuff about child abuse or sexual abuse towards children. You will be wishing for this motherfucker to die the entire film, I guarantee it. So, if you want to watch it, do. But I do warn you, it's kind of fucked up. So, that is part 1 for my 5 top 10 documentaries that you need to watch.